can I throw a curveball at you now?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have been together for 14 years. All right, you've made this commitment that divorce and separation is not on the table. But every day is not sunshine and rainbows, right? So this may be for my own morbid curiosity. What is, and I'm going to ask you individually here, what is Rob's fighting style?
Retreat.
Retreat.
Stonewalling. I'm a stonewaller.
Go silent?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not worth it to me to argue with you about it,
Okay.
especially if you're wrong.
So, and then Rob, what's Annie's fighting style?
It's the same, actually. We're the same that way. Like she'll retreat. If not, it's not worth fighting over. I'll work it out. I'll figure it out on my own. Fine. Fuck you. I'll get this taken care of on my own.
So okay, so if you're both stonewalling, we have a Mexican standoff here.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, you've done this a lot. What is the resolution? How do you guys bring it back?
I think that this might be actually a strength to our relationship. I feel like a lot of women want to talk about it. Like my fighting style is very masculine to retreat. And because we have taken some time and space, and I'll go call other people. I know talking to him is not going to work. And so I'll go call my friends, call wise women who are going to tell it to me straight and hear me out and know all the things. And so I'll go talk to them. And I call people who are really going to tell me what my problem is. Because I've realized that I can't change except for myself. And so tell me where I'm missing this here. What am I missing? How can I take responsibility? And then it really resolves a lot of the issue anyways. So then when we do get to go back together, I'm not as mad. I'm not as hot. And I can easily say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. If you want to end a fight, those are the words you need to say. Whether you really believe you're sorry and wrong about that thing, it doesn't matter. You're wrong about something and you're sorry about something. So you go and say that.
Well, and let's make that clear, though. It's not that you aren't sorry about the matter. If you're angry, you're wrong. Mm-hmm. If you're mad, you're wrong.
You lost control of
wrong.
what you can control.
Right. And so you're wrong.
Right.
It doesn't matter how right you are.
Right.
You're wrong. And so that's what we're apologizing for, is the wrongness of losing the temper and for hard words. And we say hard words to one another. We've had those arguments where we're not stonewalling and we're going back and forth. And that's not pleasant either. I don't like that either. I don't like saying things that I'm going to have to be sorry for later.
And it's exhausting.
It's exhausting to keep track and to stay up on it. And so we're really good at, I think that Annie and I are really good at not getting to the point where we're saying things just to hurt one another. Annie has enough respect for me to know that it's not worth it to do that. And I love her enough that I don't want to make her cry. I don't want to upset her that way. It's not worth it in the long run. We have other problems. Whatever the problem is the problem. Throwing angry words in is just going to add more things that I need to be sorry about. Do you know what I mean? I made the mistake. Now on top of the mistake, I've said mean things. Mm-hmm. And so if you have a tendency to say mean things, and something to think about, because you're just kind of adding to the problem. If that's how you resolve the problem, then good on you. It just isn't our style.
Sure.
And so we'll separate and talk to our wise men and wise women that we have in our lives. And that's a simple phone call to someone in the club. That's a simple phone call for me, or I'll journal it out. And sometimes it takes a couple days for us to come back around. It's not like we're going to bed with this resolved. Those people that are like, don't go to bed angry.
It's hard to do.
Go to bed angry sometimes. It's okay to go to bed angry. But to stay in that space, feel your feelings, feel your anger, whatever those things are, but then what? Then what is the next thing? What are we doing to fix this? What are we doing to not make this mistake again? What are we going to do to improve in the future so that we're not running into this problem? Because we're going to continue to hit this problem again and again and again until we face it.
Right.
And a lot of times, like Annie said, it's not about the dishes in the sink. It's about other things. And let's work on that. Let's spend some time in that space. And it takes a lot of courage, I think, for Annie to use her words and tell me how she feels. But I feel like I'm working a lot on not being triggered by my wound of not being enough, not being worthy of love, not being able to cope. All of those lies that I've been telling myself, as I'm feeling those things coming in, I'm realizing That's me. That's not her. That's me. Or that is her. That's all her. That has nothing to do with me. And so like just kind of that kind of clarity has been really good.
Goes back to that language, knowing what that means. What is your language? And that just takes time. That's just a matter of having enough patience with your partner to figure that out together and having enough compassion for them, because it's not easy. We are triggered. We're just triggered human beings who have our own trauma and problems. And knowing what your partner's fighting style is important too. If you and your partner have different fighting styles, you need to communicate about that as well. Okay, when we get to this point, how are we going to...
Then what?
Yeah, because I'm not going to hear you if you're just talking at me and I want to retreat. So like, let's take a break. Let's take a night, a couple hours, go watch TV, go unwind, go call some friends, whatever it is that needs to happen, because our retreating and stonewalling is actually working for us because we both do it.
But here's our rules of engagement. This is it's not just an unwritten, like we've got very clear rules. I will say, and I'm mad as I've ever been right now. I'm so stinking mad. I'm going to need some time, but we're going to come back to this.
I think that's a huge takeaway. Calling a timeout.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to see it through right in that moment.
But she needs to know she's safe. Back to the word. She's safe. So babe, I want to punch a hole in the wall right now. It's probably a good idea if I go to the gym or go for a ride or do something. But we're going to come back to this and we're going to work on this. And I don't have to say that many words because we've already made this agreement, but I'll say I need some time. And so she knows that time has an expiration point. And maybe sometimes the time is, and we'll talk a little bit about our love journal. The time is I've written it out. I'm good. But I can check in with her. She can check in with me. Are we good? Yeah, we're good. Okay. I love you. And she loves me. And we're good. We're going to move forward. That's it. I'm not going to hold a grudge. And this is something remarkable about Annie, which I find astounding. This is what makes me a lucky man, is the fact that when she says that she forgives me, she really does. She's not keeping score. And I know that there's times when it comes up where she's going to say, or she's going to think, ooh, remember that one time? But she doesn't. She doesn't throw it in my face again and again and again. If she says, okay, I forgive you, Rob, then she's going to remember that as well. And she does forgive me so that I can continue to work on it.
Well, that's a big key. That's from the golden nuggets and everything.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is a massive key. And like you just said, if you're going to say it, mean it.
Yeah.
And when you say, I forgive you, it's done.
Yeah.
And you got to move forward.
Yep. Can't hold it.
No.
Even if it still hurts a little bit. I know Annie's working on things. I've hurt Annie. I know she's still working on things that I've hurt her over, but she's forgiven me and now she's working on it. It's hers to own and it's mine to get better from. That doesn't mean I get to do it again. It doesn't mean I get to go out and make those same mistakes again. I've got to get better. And when I ask for forgiveness, I'm asking for forgiveness that's simply, please forgive me. I'm going to do my best to make this not happen again or whatever, right? And so that's really the secret, is like when I'm apologizing, which I apologize a lot and quickly because I realize, man, that was out of line. I stepped over, I made the mistake, and I need to own that. So kind of humbling myself, that masculine energy, and just kind of saying that. And then Annie being wise enough to say, okay, I forgive you. Or she's told me at other times, like, no, I'm mad about this right now still, and I'm still working on it. And I'm going to work on it till I feel my feelings. Let me know what I can do. I'm right here. You need a punching bag. I'm your guy, you know. And so that's a big step in there. And we've been on the verge of divorce again and again and again, over and over again in our lives, in our relationship, because it is hard. And I don't want you to think that as we're discussing these principles, it's been smooth sailing. It's been, she's raising someone else's kids. She's bringing them into her life and making them her kids, and then they're hurting her. She's dealing with a man that has wounds from a past wife, wounds, all these different injuries, and I'm doing the best that I can. The difference is that she's giving me the grace to do that. And oftentimes she reminds me, because my language on myself is much harder. God, I should have done that. Oh, man, I really messed that up. She's much more kind to me than I am. And oftentimes I think she probably loves me more than I do. And because of that, we're able to continually forgive one another and move forward.
With the forgiveness, you have to have that compassion. I think that it's important to give permission to feel the wound even past forgiveness, because you as a person need to set a boundary. Otherwise you're going to get walked all over. And so when Rob says I forgive him, really I do, but also I am wounded, and you can call it PTSD, whatever you want. That's an easy way to say it, because something will come up. But rather than, I'm not using what he did now to do it back to him, because that's not forgiveness. And I'm not reminding him and shoving it down his throat when it comes up again. But I am saying, this hurt me and
I'm feeling
I'm
unsafe.
feeling it. So forgiveness, part of that forgiveness is taking now responsibility and talking about it. Like, hey, this triggered this thing in me, and I need to set a new boundary here, because obviously I'm still working on this wound. But you're still forgiven. I'm not saying, I'm not bringing this up intentionally to make a big deal, but being honest with myself and with you, like, oh, this triggered me from this because it's happened and it hurts and pain is real. And so, but speaking about it is important. You have to, and he has to have humility for what has happened and the feelings I feel. And I have to have humility in the same aspect. I've hurt him too. So knowing that hurt doesn't go away, that you can have forgiveness, but also that it's created something inside of you. And so how do you move forward with it rather than denying it and rejecting it? How do you get better and stronger as a person so that your relationship can get stronger as well?
What do you mean you haven't subscribed? Subscribe now.